Hello students. In this video, we will go through the summary of the best Christmas present in the world, written by Michael Morpurgo. It's a story that will warm your heart and make you believe in the magic of friendship and kindness. Set during the Christmas festival, right in the midst of a war, this extraordinary story shows us how important it is to be friendly to everyone around us. It teaches us a valuable lesson about soldiers and their families, who desire nothing more than to be together during this special time of year. So let's dive into the summary and discover the true meaning of love and togetherness. The story begins with the author buying a cheap roll-top table from a junk shop. Though it was in a bad condition, the author thought that he would restore it. On Christmas Eve, he started to repair it. The table turned out to be a real treasure from the 19th century and was made of oak. The drawers were badly damaged due to fire and water. When the author pulled out the last drawer, he found a secret space there. In that secret space was a small tin box. And guess what was inscribed on the top? Jim's last letter, received 25th January 1915. To be buried with me when the time comes. Can you believe it? Inside that mysterious tin box, an envelope waited patiently, holding a secret message from the past. The address on the envelope read, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, and the date was 26th December 1914. What could this letter possibly say? What secrets and stories lay within those delicate pages? Let's uncover the thrilling tale. The author began to read the letter. It was penned by a brave captain named Jim Macpherson and was addressed to his beloved wife, Connie. He had narrated a beautiful incident that took place on the battlefield on Christmas Day. It was Christmas Day and the English and Germans were at war. Both armies were in their respective trenches. Then, out of nowhere, he saw someone waving a white flag from the German side. He heard the sound of German voices singing songs of Christmas cheer filling the air. Something magical was happening. German soldiers were wishing them Merry Christmas. To the captain's surprise, English soldiers joined in. Captain Macpherson, cautious and alert, wondered if it was a trick, a cunning ploy of war. But to his amazement, the German soldiers arrived bearing gifts, a feast of canned meat and wine. Can you imagine the wonder and joy that filled that battlefield? Enemies became friends, even if just for a short while, as they shared food, laughter, and the warmth of the Christmas spirit. As the magic of Christmas filled the air, an incredible scene unfolded before Captain Macpherson's eyes. The soldiers were hugging and wishing each other. Among them was a German officer named Hans Wolf, who extended his hand in friendship towards Macpherson. Hans revealed that he belonged to the city of Dusseldorf and had a fascinating hobby. He played the cello in an orchestra. Macpherson, too, shared that he was from Dorset and worked as a school teacher. To their surprise, Hans Wolf expressed his admiration for English literature and revealed that Thomas Hardy, a renowned writer, was his favorite author. In his book, Far from the Madding Crowd, he has described Dorset. Thus, he knew a lot about Dorset from there. Feeling a strong bond forming between them, Macpherson offered a special gift, a delicious cake sent by his loving wife, Connie. The aroma of the freshly baked treat filled the air, symbolizing the sweetness of newfound friendship in the midst of war. The soldiers from different sides came together to play football. The air was filled with laughter and cheers as they chased the ball and scored goals. Once the game was over, something special happened. The soldiers gathered around to share a delicious feast, enjoying mouth-watering food and refreshing drinks. At that moment, the boundaries of war seemed to fade away as they come together to savor the simple pleasures of life. But as much as they wished to stay, the soldiers must bid farewell and return to their respective trenches. It's a bittersweet moment, for the bond they formed during their time together is something they never expected, and parting ways feels difficult. Later at night, both armies sang carols for a while, and then there was silence. In his heartfelt letter, Captain Macpherson treasures these memories, knowing that they will stay with him forever. He holds on to the hope that the war will come to an end soon. Once the author finished reading the heartfelt letter, he knew he had to do something special. Determined to return the precious letter, he went to her house in Bridport, Dorset. However, upon reaching Mrs. Macpherson's house, he saw the house had been burned by a fire, leaving nothing but ashes. The author soon learned that Mrs. Macpherson, a remarkable 101 years old, had been inside the house during the tragic incident. The author then came to know that Mrs. Macpherson is in the nursing home. He finds her sitting on a chair there. When he called her Connie and returned the letter to her, her eyes lit up. Overwhelmed with emotion, Mrs. Macpherson took the author's hand with tears of joy in her eyes and said that Jim kept the promise. Also, she made the author sit beside her and talked lovingly for long with him. Mrs. Macpherson declared that this reunion and the return of the letter were the best Christmas present she could have ever received. So students, to conclude, war can only result in hatred and destruction between two countries, but a small gesture of kindness and empathy can make this world a better place for all. The best Christmas present in the world lesson highlights how two armies, instead of hating each other, meet cheerfully to each other to celebrate Christmas, and it becomes one of the best Christmas of their life. The story also highlights the act of kindness and empathy by the narrator when he decides to hand over the letters he found on his desk to Mrs. Macpherson, who gets happy after receiving the last memory of her late husband. Sometimes, it just takes a little kindness and empathy towards other people to make them happy. Now that you have understood the summary of this chapter, open the EduRev app, study the chapter notes, and take the test of this chapter. Your marks are going to tell whether you have understood the topic. Also, here is an amazing secret. You get video lectures, chapter notes, and MCQ tests for all the chapters in the EduRev app. That's the magic of EduRev courses. You get everything in a single place. And, not just English, you get amazing courses for maths, science, social studies, Hindi, and much more on EduRev. Thank you.